everyone, it's Natalie. I'm back again today for some more good old narcissistic abuse advice and definitions and everything that we get into. Next week, I will be getting into some other things. I'm not only going to focus on narcissistic abuse. I think this coming week, we're going to talk about toxic friends and family. Narcissism does run in friends and family, but we're also going to kind of dive in deeper to when it's time to get rid of these family and friends. So I'm going to just read a little bit on the narcissistic family files. I don't take credit for this. They've done this. And then we're going to dive into some of the things that the narcissist fears. That's what today's topic is about, is what the narcissist fears. So narcissists are charming or abusive, seductive, or abandoning. The narcissist is driven by underlying feelings of vulnerability and shame that she or he overcompensates for what self-agonizing persona that they have. Having missed crucial developmental milestones in early childhood, including a secure sense of identity, resilient self-esteem, and empathetic connection with others. The narcissist, in effect, walls off her or his authentic self and instead depends on a persona as a means of psycho-emotional survival. So they put three big ones that the narcissist fears. I've wrote some more down that we can dive into. So their three is being seen or exposed, being embarrassed or humiliated, or being rejected. So let's get into the biggest one, and that is them being exposed. So when you're exposing a narcissist, or you finally figured out who they are, that's their greatest fear. And the reason being is because they've never developed into a person of actually knowing who their true self is. So you and I, we all know who you are, what you're about. You have empathy, you have sympathy, you can relate to people. Well, the narcissist cannot do that. And one of their biggest fears, and especially in a family dynamic, is that somebody will come in from the outside of the family and see, because it's so obvious when you go into a narcissistic family that somebody outside of that family sees right through it. I mean, they can see that this is not a normal family setting, that when they're coming from their family and it's a loving, caring, empathetic family where their opinions and their feelings matter, and they go into a narcissistic family, they're literally like, what the heck is going on? They're thinking to themselves, like, this is an odd family. Like, what is going on in this family? And so the narcissist fears anybody outside of their family coming in because they know that they're going to get exposed. And so right away, they will start trying to discard that new person. So it could be their son or daughter's significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, or even a friend. And right away, they start going on attack mode that they don't like this friend. This friend is a nobody and a nothing, that the child needs to get rid of the friend. It could even be with the spouse. They right away are like, wait a minute, no, you can't have that friend, you need to get rid of that friend. Then they start threatening the child or spouse, like, if you don't get rid of that friend, I will make sure you don't go to college. I will make sure you don't get a car. I will make sure that I will just treat you like crap and you will be living in hell. So that's what they do because they know that they're not normal. They know that they have this authoritarian type of attitude where only their opinions, decisions matter in that family. So when somebody is getting a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a friend inside that family, and that person is starting to say, hey, what is going on with so-and-so in your family? Like, why do they act like that? Why do they treat me like that? Why am I feeling that I am unwelcomed? Well, I mean, that's because that person knows. They see, they're outside of the box. They see that something is not right with that person. And so when that person starts to expose the narcissist to the other friend or girlfriend or whatever, and says, hey, the what your mom is doing to you and to me is not normal. Like, I come from a family that our opinions, decisions, and emotions matter, and your parent or whoever it is, the narcissist, tends to think that that only their opinion and decisions matter, and that's not normal. So they start getting exposed. And another way to expose them, let's say that you just ignored the narcissist when you came into that family, and some years later on, you're just like, you're sitting there saying, no more. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not going, you're not going to make me hypervigilant where I'm waiting on you to attack me. I'm waiting on you to say something rude or inconsiderate. I'm no longer going to tolerate this. You are not normal. And you're sitting here telling the narcissist, like, no, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I see it differently. You're exposing the narcissist. And that's one of their biggest fears, is that you're going to find out that they're putting on a show and that their mask has slipped. And when you've done that, and then let's say you go back and try to talk to somebody about it, like, hey, have you seen this within the narcissist personality? You're exposing them, because then you're bringing to light that what they've done to that other person you're talking to about the experience that you've had, that other person is like, wait a minute. Yes, I do see that. I know what you're talking about. No, it's not normal. You're right. You have exposed them. And the narcissist is fearing that because they have to have control over everything. So something else that they fear, of course, is abandonment. So once you've exposed the narcissist, you are going to abandon them because you're no longer going to tolerate that. So they're scared that once their mask does slip, they get exposed, and you start abandoning them, excuse me, tied tongue, that they're not going to have their supply anymore. So no longer are they going to have anyone to control. Another thing, the way that they think they see abandonment, is that, say you start dating one of their children. So they're no longer going to have that emotional incestual relationship that they once had with their child, that they are going to lose that supply because their children are their supply. And so when they start losing their supply, they feel abandoned. So when the girlfriend or the boyfriend comes into their child's life, they are going to do everything under the sun to get rid of that child, because they have an emotional incestual relationship with their child, and they're not going to be able to find that anywhere, because they have groomed that child since birth to be submissive to them and be submissive to their abuse. And so when they're not able to abuse anyone anymore, they're literally lost. And that's when they start kind of reflecting on who they truly are. And when that starts happening, they realize that they're not this big important person, that they're not their opinions and decisions and all that doesn't matter in that child's life anymore. For instance, like, that's happened to my husband throughout the years. Like, he no longer was going to listen to his parents when it came to his relationships outside of the family, and that he no longer had an emotional incestual relationship with this parent, but instead he had an emotional relationship with his girlfriend or boyfriend. Same thing can happen with their friends. They're starting to make friends and go outside of the family and expect to have a close friendship. Well, the narcissist doesn't want to lose that supply. And so they will do everything under the sun to make sure that their child is friendless, girlfriendless, boyfriendless, and make sure that the only relationship that they're relying on is the abusive parent. Something else that they're fearful of is intimacy. So we're not just talking about sexual intimacy, which they are fearful, or they use that as a controlling mechanism, but they're afraid to get close to someone. They're afraid to have that connection. You know, when you get a new friend or a boyfriend or girlfriend, you have this intimacy within the relationship that makes you feel close, that makes you feel wanted, makes you feel special, makes you feel that you're important to that person. Well, the narcissist fears that because they are fearful of the very fact of who they are. So if they have to dive deep into who they are and share a little piece of their self with someone else, they're fearful that that person is going to realize that they're not as special as they present themselves to be, that they're not as superior, that that maybe they the hatred that they have within their self, the thought of the very thought of who they truly are, if they present that to the other person, that other person is not going to like that, because the narcissist does not like their self. That is why they are a narcissist, because they are covering up the fact that they are hurt, abandoned, just an ugly person inside. And that mainly comes from the very fact that they have been treated like that when they were a child, that their opinions and decisions and feelings and emotions didn't matter. And so they lost their self along the way. They lost how to empathize and sympathize and relate to people because their parent never did that with them. So they're afraid of the intimacy of the closeness, of getting close to somebody, of somebody really seeing who they are. Instead of being a loving, caring, kind person, they're really not inside. Okay? And even on the outside, obviously they're not. That's why they're a narcissist. So they think by controlling every relationship that they're in, they're going to trick people into thinking that they're better than them, that they're more superior, that they're just, they're trying to present that there's nothing wrong that's ever happened in their life, that they have had a perfect life, that everything that's happened in their friend's life is nothing compared to how wonderful that they've lived, which is a complete false reality. They actually do not feel like that inside, but they present that to trick you. So let's go on. I'll just kind of read this. They fear commitment. They fear failure. They fear abandonment, which we went over. They fear people outside of their family removing the mask and being exposed for who they are. They fear that their feelings or emotions, they fear that their feelings or emotions will be hurt, because then they have to dive into their self to actually express emotions, which they don't know really who they are, so they can't express a true emotion. They can't really express how they feel. So when somebody else is hurting them, it makes them feel like that other person doesn't respect them, that they don't think of them the way they think of their self, which is I'm better than you. You can't do anything to hurt me. But in reality, the narcissist gets their feelings hurt very easily, because they don't expect anyone to come up against them. They don't expect someone to challenge them in life, okay? Because they constantly think that even their friends or family are trash to them, that they're dirt to them, that they're better than them, that no matter who it is and no matter what accomplishment they make in their life, that there's nothing that they can do to be superior to the narcissist. Okay, that's why the narcissist devalues people, because when someone does something that is more grand than what the narcissist has accomplished in their life, the narcissist will turn around and try to make it seem like their accomplishment is nothing compared to what the narcissist has done in life. They'll even go as far as going around telling people, well, so-and-so's child got admitted into Harvard, but you know that those parents paid that grade to get him in. You know that kid's really stupid. You know that, it could be a million things. Instead of acknowledging the very fact that child is smart and bright and has studied and worked their butt off to get into Harvard, they flip it around and smear that child to other people and devalue them and make it seem as though that child didn't get there by their own success, that somebody else did that for them, when that's not reality. So let's go on. So they fear of losing people in their life. They're fearful that somebody's going to remove the mask and people standing up to them. They fear of you leaving them and them losing their supply. They fear of people standing up to, I think I said that, people standing up to them and, saying, no, I'm not going to tolerate you acting like this. No one else treats me like this. There's no longer going to be this. Like, you need to stop treating me like this. They hate when you show who they truly are to their self, because they feel as though they're the best in the world. They make no mistakes. So when you bring to their consciousness that they are making mistakes by treating you badly, they'll right out deny it and flip it around and say that you are the person that acts like that you make those mistakes. They don't make those mistakes. So they have a fear of you pointing out the way that they treat you. They fear the silent treatment, which this is how you win pretty much against a narcissist. This is how you get under their skin, is that you do the silent treatment. That no matter if they're nice or mean to you or abusing you, that you're just staying silent, that you don't care what they have to say anymore, that their opinions and decisions don't matter, that you're pretty much treating them the way they've treated you. They fear the very fact the way they've treated you and that you're going to treat them that way. So they fear this. They fear when you find out that they are fragile and not superior to you. They fear the very fact that when, it's kind of like when they're looking in a mirror, they see what they want to, and it's an illusion of self-worth, okay? So the way that they present their self-worth to everybody, they don't feel about their very own self. They don't feel this way about their self. It's an illusion to everyone. So when you find out this illusion, they fear the very fact that they are no longer superior to you, that you have found the mask is lifted, that you see right through it, that that their illusion that they present to everybody is not who they truly are. Okay. So they fear the illusion of their perfection, because they are not perfect at all, even though they try to act like it. Because I want you to really think about this. If they were perfect, would they treat you like that? If they were perfect, would abuse be going on, or would they have empathy and sympathy for you? In my eyes, a perfect person is somebody that can relate to you, that has emotions and feelings that are genuine, that the way they act reflects on their self, and the reflection of their self is the way they act. So if they feel good about their self, they're a nice person, they're a kind person, then they will project that. They will act that way because that is truly who they are. So normal people, empathic people act like this. So people that are truly genuine, in my eyes, are the perfect people, because they are the people that, no matter who is in front of them, they're going to act like their true self. So if you're acting like your true self, then in my eyes, you're a perfect person. But in the narcissist's eyes, a perfect person doesn't make mistakes, which is crazy, right? A perfect person, if you're a narcissist, is someone that, you don't, it's like this. It's like, if I'm perfect, then everything's going to go my way. There's going to be no mistakes. I'm going to be the best at everything. I'm going to win at everything. I'm right on everything. I'm righteous. I am going to get my way with everything. They think that's being perfect. But someone that's truly perfect has flaws. They can dive deep into their inner self and know when they make a mistake and correct that mistake and admit to a mistake and apologize for that mistake. That's a perfect person. Someone that is imperfect. Not someone who kind of thinks that monetary gain and materialism is what makes them a perfect person. That's crazy. So let's go. The fear of failing. They are obsessed with materialism, and they get their self-worth from monetary value instead of emotional. They get their self-worth from objects, materialism, wealth. If they, what their kids succeed in, what their fancy degree, what they've succeeded in. If they are part of a country club, if they're, a good little church person who goes to church all the time, who prays all the time. Like, they literally think that those things make them a superior, better person. I mean, they get their self-worth from monetary gain, from showing off, from having better children than someone else, having better cars, having a fancier house, having extravagant vacations, all this. And the thing is, so another thing is they're fearful of being ignored. So they have all these monetary possessions, and they have all this, a bigger, fancier, better things than you. And they're fearful that you're just going to ignore them, even though they've done all this work in their life to get to where they are, to have the what they feel the superiority, the upper class, upper society type of mentality. They're afraid, even with all of this, that you're going to ignore them because you find them out. You've discovered who they are. So when you start ignoring them, they really don't care. Let me find this. They really don't care what they have to do to put you back on focus of that they're the greatest. They don't care if they, I'm sorry, they don't care. Okay, so they rather be hated than be ignored because they distract supply from this, even if it's negative failure. Negative failure terrifies them. So even if you see them negatively, after you've ignored them, you don't care, and you're like, that person's nobody and a nothing to me. It's like a stranger to you. You're like, who cares what that person has achieved in your life? If they don't treat me right, then I don't really want them in my life. So that terrifies them. So even if they have to turn around and be negative to you to get that, abstract that supply from you to make them feel better, feel more superior to you, they don't care if it's negative. They don't care if you think negatively of them. They don't care. Like, if if your feelings are hurt by them, they've done something, they've made you feel bad because they're putting all this materialism or monetary gain into your face, and they're making you feel crappy, and they know it's making you feel bad, like you haven't achieved anything in your life, even if you have. They don't care that you have negative feelings. Like, they want to brag, they want to make you feel not as superior as they are to you. So even if your feelings are negative towards them, they don't, like, they're abstracting supply from that. Instead of like a normal person where we brag about this and that to make ourselves feel good, and people are coming around saying congratulations to you, like, you've worked so hard for that, way to go, we're proud that you're our daughter-in-law. They'll, like, a narcissist will just ignore that. So that makes you feel hurt. That makes you feel as though you haven't achieved anything, that all that hard work that you've done is nothing to the narcissist, because the narcissist feels as though they're better than you. So the narcissist knows that they're having you feel like that. So even though they have you feeling negatively towards them, they're still abstracting supply from you. So they don't need you to turn around and say, "Oh, that was so nice of so-and-so to tell me I did a good job. That was so nice of the narcissist throwing me a dinner party for my achievement. That's so nice." Like, they don't care if you feel positive about them. Okay? Because when they're making you feel negative about them, they are gaining superiority over you, because they are, like, squishing you like a bug mentally and emotionally. Like, they're stepping over you. They don't want you to have that achievement. It makes them look smaller than you in their minds. Instead of just being happy for you and being there for you, and you thinking of them as a positive person, they much rather you think of them as a negative person. So when that starts happening, you're like, you're going to abandon them. You're like, I'm not going to tolerate that. Why is that person constantly making me feel as though my achievements mean nothing? Like, why is it that their achievements mean everything, and they'll sit here and brag about what they've done in life, and they want me to worship the ground they walk on because they've done, whatever achievement, but yet when I achieve something, they act like it's nothing. Like, they're going around telling people, "Oh, she cheated," or she doesn't deserve that raise, or he, or whatever, and that they didn't work hard to get where they are, that so-and-so paid their way, or that their boss is their friend, and their friend just gave them that raise. Like, they didn't work for that. So that's negativity. Instead of being, like, happy for you, they're going around spreading gossip and lies about you. So they're fearful of being disrespected because they feel as though their opinions mean more than anyone else's. So when someone disagrees with their opinions, they will do anything to prove them wrong, even if it means hurting that person. Then they will turn around and deny what you said and try to confuse you. And then they will make it seem like they are the victim and you are the villain. So when you're disagreeing with them, when they're being, you're, I guess in their head, you're disrespecting them because you're being confrontational. You're saying, "No, I don't like the way you're acting, embarrassing me," and all this. They don't care. They'll turn around and be like, "That's not me." They'll play the victim. And they use cognitive dissonance and gaslighting you to make you feel as though that you're in the wrong for disrespecting them, that you're in the wrong for embarrassing them, that you're in the wrong for doing whatever you're doing to cause a narcissistic injury. You're the one that's in the wrong, even though they're the ones that are abusive and hurtful, and they probably embarrassed you a million times. They probably gossip about you a million times. So when you're, like, in front of them and you do or say something that they don't like, they will go tell people, oh, that's not true about me. That's really that person. That person is a nobody and nothing, so don't worry about what they say about me. Like, that's not true. I don't act that way. I don't treat people that way. And it's like, yes, you do. So they're afraid that, they're going to be disrespected, and their opinions and feelings don't matter to you, which it shouldn't, because they don't think that your opinions or decisions or anything, however you live your life, like, it doesn't matter, like, they just totally disregard the fact that you're a human being, pretty much. So it doesn't matter if they embarrass you or call out your imperfections or whatever. Like, they see you as someone beneath them. So if you're beneath somebody, it's okay for them to call you out on something that you did wrong, or if you didn't achieve something that you said you were going to achieve. Like, it's okay for them to call you out on it. But if you turn around and say, hey, didn't you say this or do this? Like, that's not okay. Because they're more superior. They think in their brain they're superior to you. So, yeah, they always make you the villain, right? Another thing is they're afraid of being made fun of. And this is because deep inside they know they are flawed. And when somebody is joking with them, they really get worked up when they are faced with just a taunt, a tease, something that is just a joke, something that you're just trying to have fun with the narcissist. And this happened with my son. Every time my son would do something that, and he's, as a little kid, just being funny and trying to have fun with his grandparents, instead of taking that as an opportunity to grow close to him, finding an opportunity to connect with him, they took it as an opportunity to say, no, you're not going to act like that. You're not going to embarrass me, even though you're just joking around. You're not going to just pretty much find this funny side of things. So guess what? Now you're going to get spanked, or you're going to get punished, because you were making fun of me, and I don't appreciate that. Instead of finding a connection in that joking, while you're joking, like, I'm going to punish you for that. I'm going to punish you for acting as though I'm not superior to you. I'm going to punish you for acting as though I'm at the same level as you personally. Like, no, I'm not, and I'm superior, and I'm authoritarian, and your joking really got under my skin, because I can't look within to see that I'm also a funny person, that I'm also it's also okay to tease me and make me feel uncomfortable, even though I could have taken that as an opportunity to connect with you. So, another thing, let's go on. Oh, sorry, someone's knocking at the door. Sorry about this. Why are you ringing? Sorry. Hold on 1 second. Guys, I'm almost done with my video, if you don't mind. Why were you knocking? Oh, it was locked. I'm almost done, guys. So, they can't look inside their self and think that they're flawed at all. So when someone's poking fun of them and trying to just have fun, they don't want to take that as an opportunity to connect. They just want to, they think, oh, you're pointing out my flaws, even though you're just joking. It kind of also, when you get to the point that you're going to abandon someone, they are forced to face their own emptiness. They are forced to deflect that they have an inflated ego, and that they're not superior to everyone else, and that when this happens, they can go into a rage, or they can they can go around and manipulate people into believing that you're a certain kind of way, that they'll make up lies that saying that that you're no longer in contact with them because you're a horrible person, because you do bad things, because you're hurtful, when in reality it's all of them. And these people that they go and run around and gossip about you to, they don't really realize that this abuse has been going on for years, that this isn't something that has just happened overnight, that you've just gotten upset with them. No, these people that they go and smear your name to, which could be flying monkeys, could be other people that are smarter than us, that actually know who the narcissist is already. They think that by going and smearing your name to these people, that they will get them on their side. So when you go look for sympathy with these people, to go cry to your family or friends about how you feel about how this person has treated you, what they do is they've already smeared your name into, and having those people think that you are a horrible person, that you are hurtful, that you are mentally insane, that you have mental problems, that you don't know how to treat people. And when the reality of it is that's them. So they do this. So when you do go and try to get people to listen to you so you can cry on someone's shoulder or whatever it is, that those people already have a understanding that you are mentally ill, that you're abusive, that everything that you're saying about them, that's actually you. So they're projecting the very fact that they're not nice to you, and they're projecting as though that you are them. So you're hurt, you're feel defeated. So everything that you feel, the narcissist goes around and tells people that that's actually how they feel. And that actually the way that they've treated you is the way that you've treated them. It's very confusing. So by the time you get to go around to people and say anything to anyone, they already think that you are them and they are you. It makes no sense, treatment wise. So the best thing you can do is not say anything. You don't go talk about the narcissist. You don't try to find sympathy in anyone but your therapist or life coach. You or someone that's close, like you're close in your family that actually understands the situation. You want to make sure that what you want to do is you want to get under their skin by not doing the very thing that they're doing, and that is smearing their name. Because they've already smeared you. They've already made sure that when you go and try to find a shoulder to cry on, that your name is already thrown in the mud. That, like I said, that they have projected their self onto that other person. They are projecting what you've done to them and what they've done to you. And they're saying so you're the abused one. You're the one that's taken all the abuse. So they're turning it around and they're the abuser. They're turning around and acting like they're the abuse victim and you're the abuser. So this is projection. So it's very confusing. And so when you go to someone and try to explain this, your name's already smeared. So it's hard to wake someone up and say, no, this is not the reality. The reality is they're the abuser and I have been taking the abuse. So it's hard to change people's minds unless they've already seen it. So the best thing you can do is stay quiet. So that's also a fear of the narcissist, is that you ignore them, that you don't take anything they say or smears or whatever it is that they're doing to you to heart, that you stay quiet. You ignore the very fact that they're even a person. You go your own way and they go their own way. You don't talk about anyone. You don't posting on anything on social media. You don't let anyone know what they've done or how you feel unless it's a therapist or life coach, and you just go on your merry way. You go no contact, or if you have to go gray rock, and this is how you win the game. I mean, plain and simple, this is how you beat a narcissist, is that you stay silent. that you ignore them, that you go no contact or gray rock, or the very fact that in a healthy way you treat them the way they've treated you when it comes to discarding or silent treatments, or the very fact that they try to act like you're an abuser. Like, they try to flip it and make you think that they use like cognitive dissonance on you, where you confront them and you say, you're abusing me and this and that, and they're like, no, I'm not. So then it confuses you and you're like, well, am I the abuser? So you just want to completely stop this cycle. And to stop this cycle is you go no contact. You stop paying attention to the narcissist. You quit crediting them for anything, negative or positive. Like, you just stay silent. That's the best thing you can do, is stay silent. You don't talk about them. You don't smear their name. So that's why I said, in a healthy manner, you treat them the way they've treated you. And that is, you, in that aspect, is you just ignore them the way they ignore you. You act like they're nobody and nothing, so you would not go and share information with them. You would not tell them accomplishments. You would not go around and let them affect your life, because you're not affecting their life. Trust me. If you think for 1 minute that when you go no contact or whatever, that you're actually causing them to be hurt, you're not really causing them to be hurt. What you're doing is you're making them reflect on their self, which does hurt them, but they don't care about you. They don't care about what you feel, how you feel. They don't care about that. Because when you start ignoring them and all this, you're actually making them look at their self inside. So that's what's hurting, is who they truly are. When they start having to deflect on who they are and what they're about. And yes, they do know what they're doing to you, and they do know it's wrong, but that's not really what's going to make them bad. Make them feel bad for you. What it's going to do is they're going to feel bad that they are that person, that they can't share intimacy, they can't share a connection, they can't be a normal person. Like, they know that they've done something to you, but that's not what makes them feel sad. What makes them feel sad is who they truly are. So if you want somebody, if you want a narcissist to go inside their self and feel really bad and crappy about who they are as a person, then you ignore them and you make them think about who they are truly, about what they do to people, and how lonely they are, because no one wants to be in their life because who they are. So have them look at who they are as a person. Okay? So ignore them. Don't post anything on social media. Don't, don't even let them know how you feel. You just stay silent. That's the best thing. It's 42 minutes long. Sorry. I kind of, when it comes to fear and the narcissist, there's so much to talk about. Anyways, I'll leave my email down in the descriptions if you want any life coaching. At this time, I am giving out free sessions. Donations would be welcomed, but not required. So you guys have a great day. I will try to do more videos, but I want to do more than just narcissism. So next week, I'm going to try to do something along the lines of when it's time to kick your friends or family out of your life. So it is kind of somewhat narcissist when it kind of like friendships and stuff, but also it could be toxic friendships, toxic relationship, like people that are doing drugs or alcohol, or who are acting like a bad friend in general, or a bad family member. So let's get that started next week, and till then, bye my friends.